Yo, it's Keith Stuff for the chapter review for Chainsaw Man 117. And since it's been a minute since I've had one of these, I'm going to go ahead and hit you with a quick recap as if this is an anime. So we got Asa, Denji, and the Devil Hunter group are trapped in the aquarium with the Eternity Devil. Asa full on depressed mode because he dropped her phone and is berated by the Chainsaw Man stand who, let's be honest, we don't care about this guy, he's a complete bum. And it looks like the Kobeni clan is in full on effect with the male version of her being just as panic crazy as ever. It's gonna be fun to see in the anime only react to him. And while Asa is down on herself, my boy Denji comes into the water tank with her and hands her a starfish, saying it's edible. Meaning, while she's making all that boring fish talk, Denji was actually paying attention. And good guy Denji, he's also saving up money for Naruto to go to college. Look at the development, you'll love to see it. Asa asks Denji to hand over the money they gathered together at the aquarium. Denji actually says no, until Asa offers him the chance to grant him any request he wants, and yeah, he accepted that without any hesitation whatsoever. It looks like she's trying to create an aquarium sphere as if she's Aquaman. So we'll see what that gets her and what's happening in chapter 117. First off, let's start off with some wholesomeness, because after this, things get pretty raw actually. So Denji got to hold a penguin finally. This is what he's been wanting to do ever since he got into the aquarium, was to play with the penguin. And he got to do that. He got to have fun with it, hold it, all that. Really nice, wholesome, warm your heart type stuff for Denji. Something he actually wanted that wasn't sexual related, and he got it. But sadly, it was taken away by the end of this chapter, so at least he got to experience that. But one thing I really appreciated in the beginning was Denji conflicting with himself about the mindless obedience. He actually thought about what Asa was talking about when he promised her anything that he would request, she'd abide by it. He'd get to do whatever he wanted, or whatever he just had on his mind, she'll, I guess, grant the request. And I'm glad that he actually thought about what he was doing and put effort into it as to, this is what I didn't want. This is something that Makimi was doing to me, Reze at some points was doing to me, even Power when we first met Power and he wanted to fondle her and all that stuff. I'm glad that he's actually growing and thinking about this is things that he should be getting past and getting over with. But getting into the action, Asa tried to buy the aquarium, and I guess it didn't fully work, but by touching the glass case, she made the aquarium spear. And it's a trident spear with little fish as the sharp ends. I guess with her touching the aquarium, it kind of gave off whatever appearance was in the fish tank or anything that had properties of it. I don't know why I expected it to look a little bit more metal, I would say. But this is Fujimoto, he kind of diverts expectations even for little things like this. And the Eternity Devil for the first time is actually in sunlight fighting. And this time it looks more like a giant monster, something you see in like a Souls game. It actually has legs and feet, so it's different from what we saw in the last time in the hotel when we saw the Eternity Devil. But the face for the most part is still the same. And even though this trident doesn't look intimidating at all pretty much, the effect of it is dope. Yoru spins the spear to deflect the devil's attacks and then throws the spear right through the back end of the Eternity Devil. And as it pierces through, sharks and fishes pop out from the back. Amazing, cool visual and presentation of this soon to be one-time weapon. Fujimoto's double spreads never miss. Also, Asa felt guilty when she was buying the aquarium. I wonder if any of that guilt is going to start to go away a little bit as she becomes more potent in creating weapons from other things. Or is it going to be even more guilt as she knows what she's doing even more the more she does it? Not really sure where he could go with that, but I'm really interested to see that built upon in her character. You also learn that the Eternity Devil made a deal with Famine to come back. And it's definitely looking like the Famine / Hunger Devil's power, or at least one of her powers, is reviving people and making them bigger versions of themselves, I guess. Which the big aspect would go in hand with hunger, but at the same time, a revival being an aspect for something like hunger wouldn't be the first thing I think of, but in theory, having someone digest things can preserve a human being. Although I like to know what she can do if she's ever in a fight or a battle. As Makima used to have multiple powers and she'd have certain abilities she could do in battle or controlling an army, I wonder what Hunger can do if she's put up against an enemy. Now Yoshida on the other hand helped out a bit in the fight with the Eternity Devil, but while Yoru finished the job, he looked up and he made eye contact with Fami. Yoshida is the most mysterious character in part 2 Chainsaw Man for me, because mainly of the way he's approaching situations and even the way he looks. It always looks like he's hiding something from us and the cast. I'm not gonna go as far as to say he's going to betray us or like he's evil or something, but I do think he has an ulterior motive other than making Denji have a normal life and not expose his identity. And oh boy, the dreaded last 6 pages of this chapter. So Denji got to make his request, and this is a sign of improvement right here. Instead of something like, let me touch your boobs or whatever he had on his mind, he just asked simply, can I go on another date? And this was genuinely a cute, wholesome conversation. Denji saying, I have more dating experience and I could teach you how to have the best dates ever. Asa says, okay, teach me. Things looking good. Things looking like, hey, these two might have something going on in the future. They might be, you never know, there might be a couple or something in Chainsaw Man. Until you turn that page. Yoru's looking at this and says, wow, so this is love. This is the love you're really feeling right now. You know, this should be really useful for the plan. And I'm gonna just go ahead and do that. So you can just, sit over there and, keep feeling lovey-dovey. I'm gonna just touch this man's head. All right, touches Denji's head and calls for Denji's spinal cord sword. And the chapter ends there. Now, this is the big talking point. Is Denji going to die and be a weapon? I'm about 60% sure that this might happen. And my 60% is a couple of things. Denji for part 2 has primarily been viewed as a supporting character, a side character. And we know that technically Asa and Yoru are the main components and the main characters of the second part of Chainsaw Man. So the concept of Denji dying is up in the air. It's there. And I wouldn't be against Fujimoto doing it, but at the same time I would, because of the simple fact that you still have Naruto. We have yet to see Naruto and Denji not even interact, but just be on the same panel. And I want to see Denji's growth and as a person with Naruto, because he's doing the college funds for her. He wants her to have a normal, good life. Let me get her an education, something I didn't have, and I want to put her through it because she's a good girl. She does all her, the stuff that I guess she needs to do, and she's just a genuine good person. I want to make sure she has a good future. That is huge improvement for Denji when it comes to him doing stuff for other people. So part of me wants to see that in the manga in some capacity, and I feel like taking Denji out now feels a little bit too abrupt for the things that we could potentially see in the future. Now, I do think if he is turned into a weapon, this might actually be something similar to Soul Eater, because you remember Soul Eater had the death sights, and Maka, she could turn Soul into her death sight or whatever. This could be a situation similar to that. And I'm all for it, because there's even like a panel or like a drawing of Fujimoto where Asa's holding a chainsaw and it was Bucky in the background. Some people thought that was foreshadowing. This could actually be what could happen. She could get like a mini chainsaw and have that as a powerful weapon. And it would be pretty strong because she has some sort of good relationship with Denji. Plus, if she does turn him into a Chainsaw Man, we can see Yoshida really step into the forefront as a character and kind of divulge his whole idea of whatever he's going through in terms of if Denji's actually turned into a weapon. Would he try to kill Asa? Would he try to work with the Hunger Devil? Like, we don't know. So it's just kind of up in the air in terms of the possibilities that could happen with Denji being put in a scenario like this. But me personally, I just would lean towards not killing him. But if you do turn into a weapon, just turn into like a temporary thing he can do outside of turning himself into the Chainsaw Man. So both of them will be kind of powerful in a sense that they could be a tag team. But for me personally, as a shock factor, it would be big if Denji actually died and became a weapon. But for me, in just looking at Fujimoto as a writer, Fujimoto doesn't give death for the sake of death. He doesn't do that. He does it for a reason. If he views it as like, okay, this character doesn't really have a purpose anymore, I can use them as a big emotional moment or a big moment in a death. And Denji doesn't have that right now, and I don't want to see Fujimoto use Denji as kind of like a shock value. Oh, he killed the former main character. That doesn't really do much for me when I feel like there's more potential in the future with him being alive than it is with him just getting a moment of being dead. But that's my thoughts on Chainsaw Man chapter 117. It's been a really good run with this Eternity Devil Aquarium stuff. I've really been enjoying it. I kind of just like to let Chainsaw Man chapters stack for the most part and then kind of read them through. That's because that's, to me, I don't think a weekly Chainsaw Man experience is always the best, especially when it's kind of starting out or when it's building something up such as this. But leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and of course comment down below your thoughts on everything that's transpired in the last couple chapters and this one. I'll holler at y'all in the next one. Peace.